Novak Djokovic's latest public relations disaster angered Australia, but it also gave him another chance. The last time Novak Djokovic appeared at a major tournament 4 months ago, he broke down in tears at the adulation from the US Open crowd. It is well documented that the Serbian has never enjoyed as much global support as his great rivals Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal, so he was somewhat taken aback to receive a standing ovation from 23,000 New Yorkers in an expression of sympathy for his failed attempt to complete the calendar Grand Slam. "I feel like I was blessed to experience love from the crowd and support from the stadium that I have never experienced before in my life in New York, and actually not in many places around the world," Djokovic reflected in November. "That kind of energy which I received from the crowd from the moment I stepped in the court until I stepped out is a win for life and for this human relationship, so to say. They just touched my heart." It will likely be quite a contrast to the welcome in Melbourne, and he walks out onto the Rod Laver Arena for his first-round match at the Australian Open in 12 or 13 days' time. A taste of what to expect came from the thousands of social media posts responding to the news yesterday that Djokovic had received a medical exemption. "We are seething with anger," wrote one Australian resident, while the front page of one of the country's newspapers ran the headline, "You must be joking." For all the fury down under, it must be pointed out that Djokovic has satisfied 2 separate panels of doctors in an anonymous application that he meets the criteria for an exemption from a COVID-19 vaccine. We will perhaps never know why because of medical confidentiality, but it can be safely assumed that he has reasonable grounds given that the decision is ultimately made by independent experts appointed by the local government. The manner, however, in which this long saga has played out has left a sour taste in the mouths of Australians who feel that a loophole is unfairly being exploited. After living under strict restrictions for much of the last 22 months, some grieving relatives were denied cross-border travel between states to attend funerals. It is understandable that ordinary members of the public feel that rules are being bent to allow an unvaccinated sporting superstar entry to the country. There are already raised eyebrows in the locker room at what is perceived by some to be special treatment. "I just think it's very interesting, that's all I'm going to say," Alex de Minaur, the Australian #1, said on Tuesday. Entitled to feel particularly aggrieved is the Russian player, Natalia Vikliantseva, who was denied entry because her Sputnik vaccine had not been approved, and the Indian junior, Aman Dia, who cannot play because under-18s cannot yet receive jabs in his country. No doubt Djokovic has been tone-deaf, not for the first time, in his approach to this issue in recent months. By allowing the uncertainty to drag out for so long, it has created a storm of controversy that he could do without. It remains baffling that one of the world's greatest athletes, who has never hid his desire for more affection, is not better advised on the public relations front. Bear in mind that some unvaccinated players decided not to travel to Australia this month. Pierre-Hugues Herbert, a 5-time Grand Slam doubles champion from France, announced on December 11 that the trip was not an option for him, while Tennis Sangren, the world number 96 from the United States, removed his name from the entry list yesterday and confirmed to the American tennis journalist Ben Rothenberg that he had not tried to apply for an exemption because he did not meet any of the criteria. No wonder there was a triumphant tone to Djokovic's post on social media yesterday. The Australian Open is his best Grand Slam tournament, and he now has the chance to bid for a record-extending 10th title. The hard courts of Melbourne Park have always suited his impenetrable baseline game. He has not lost a match there since 2018. And he generally always tends to be in good physical shape at the start of a new season. The decision to grant Djokovic an exemption could also have significant ramifications for the record book. A 21st Grand Slam trophy would give him sole ownership of the all-time men's singles record, moving him one ahead of Federer, absent because of his ongoing recovery from a third knee operation at the age of 40, and Nadal, who is only just returning to competitive action after a 5-month break to treat a foot injury. His main contender this year is his US Open conqueror Daniil Medvedev, the world #2 from Russia.